This demonstration is determination of specific gravity of soil solids, ASTM D854. Specific gravity of soil solids is defined as the mass density of the mineral solids in soil normalized relative to the mass density of water. To perform the measurement, you need a few items. Number one, you need a precision scale capable of measuring to the nearest hundredth of a gram. Number two, you need some oven-dried soil. Here I just have some poorly graded Ottawa sand. You need a flask, graduated to some level. This one has an etch mark corresponding to 500 milliliters. You need a funnel because you're going to be putting sand and water into the flask. You need some distilled water at a constant temperature, preferably room temperature, easy to measure. And you need some vacuum source. Here I have a tubing connected to a vacuum which will fit into the top of the flask. In order to perform the measurement, this is what you do. Step one is you obtain the mass, the net mass of the soil. It should be about 60 grams. It doesn't have to be exactly 60 grams, but it should be close, and you need to record the exact number. And this corresponds to m sub naught, the mass of the dry soil, oven-dried soil. The next thing you do is you take your flask and you're going to fill it to the etch mark with distilled water. In order to get right to the etch mark, you can use a squeeze bottle. There we go. And now we'll obtain the mass of the flask filled with distilled water. And that mass is m sub A. Now, we're going to take some of that water and pour it out. Until we're left with about half a flask of water. We're going to take our sand, put the flask in, put the funnel in the neck of the flask, and pour the sand in. Chances are some of the sand stuck to the inside of the neck, so we can use a squeeze bottle to just rinse that down into the flask. So now we have this mixture of soil and water. There are some air bubbles in there. We want to pull those air bubbles out. So what we'll do is we'll hook this whole system up to a vacuum, and we'll apply a vacuum for about 30 minutes. You'll know that the vacuum is working because you'll see the air bubbles coming out of the sand. Kind of like when you open up a bottle of soda. That's what it'll resemble. Once in a while you can agitate it a little bit to help those bubbles along. Now for sand, 30 minutes is an adequate time for vacuuming. For a finer grained soil such as a silt or a clay, 2 to 4 hours is going to be better. So we wait.